Good morning. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Um, so I woke up and for some reason instantly I knew today I wanted to talk about rage and anger. Um, Something I'm very familiar with. Um, and I think it kind of comes into the territory of just addiction in general. I think is where you can see that come up even more. Actually, scratch that. I was angry before I became an addict. Um, but we all struggle with anger, addict or not. And um, I remember I had one of the biggest realizations of like it hit me like a ton of bricks. It just suddenly became so clear. I was like, oh, the reason why they say like someone's seeing red when they're angry is 100% to do with the root chakra, which has to do with your security and safety. So it makes sense that what so like this was like the biggest, like truly it so much came into perspective for me um about how to handle anger. Like what is it really saying? So like whenever you get mad and you're seeing red, and it doesn't have to go to that extreme. When you get mad in general or rageful or angry or whatever, it's always associated with red and the root chakra, which says right off the bat something or someone is hitting upon something that makes you feel unsafe. So it's triggering your sense of safety. So it does 100% make sense that you get mad. Now, what triggers each of our own sense of safety? I just woke up. Bear with me. Um, is going to be different. So what makes one person mad may not make another person mad. Um, so any of our emotions are truly for us and us alone. Which when we're in toxic relationships, when we're in codependency, which is going to happen a lot with addiction. And don't beat yourself down, because even if someone's not an addict, majority of the world is not secure. They have just been lucky enough to find codependent relationships most of the time where they feel safe, even if it's not necessarily because of their own self. It's from another that's willing to play that part, which is also fine. Everything's fine in this place, truly, which is hard to wrap your head around, but it's true. Everything is fine in terms of how God loves us. Everything is kosher. We're all doing the best we can. But if you're trying to elevate and awaken, or trying to heal, or trying to have a different life or a better life, um, this will come in handy. If someone makes you angry, that's for you. 100% for you. And that's hard to hear, because that was hard for me to hear whenever uh, the good Lord was telling me that. And but it's true. Um, so there's a few things to consider here, which is, so let me just reel this back in, and I'm going to share a story about my experience. Um, I was with my ex, my last relationship. I No one could make me more mad than she could. Like, she would make me blistering. I never felt anger so intensely. And I started having issues with anger whenever I was a kid. Um, Truly just a lot to do with like um, my parents' divorce, like how it happened, like how that even came to be a thing. Because my dad was cheating on my mom, and he would take me along with him while she was at work to go meet up with one of their friends. and and as a kid, I could feel that that was wrong. And um but it's confusing as a kid, because like she she was a family friend, and I enjoyed her. I thought she was cool because I was a kid. Kids kind of think everyone's cool, right? And and so I thought she was really nice. So I was like, yeah, I want to go see it. My dad would be like, hey, do you want to go see so and so? And I'd be like, yeah. And then after so many times of that happening, something in me was like, something isn't right with this, and it started to hurt a lot. And I remember telling my dad. I remember him being on the phone with her, and I got on the other phone and I could hear um, him talking to her. And I remember I walked out to the living room, and this is when my mom was at work. It's probably 8, 7 or 8, maybe. Definite for sure under 10. I'm pretty sure. And and I remember being like, I know who you're talking to. And he said, I don't know what you're talking about. And that was the first time I ever felt like a real sense of anger. Um, and it had nowhere to go. And so I remember crying. I said, I know who you're talking to. He said, no, you don't. And I was gaslit. That's a gaslighting right there. Um, and I didn't believe him. Like I knew that he was lying. And I remember walking back into my room and standing by my bed, and in my head I was like, I want to tell my mom. Whenever she gets home, I'm gonna tell my mom who my dad's talking to, because that felt like the right thing to do. And as quickly as that thought came, what replaced it was despair, futility, and hopelessness that just like concreted itself within me. Like this rage just got concreted inside of me because I knew as quickly as I thought it that I couldn't, because I would be crushing two people I love. Even though it wouldn't be me that was doing it. It was my father that was doing it, and my that relation it was their relationship. It takes two, you know, if there's cheating energy around you, you have attracted that in. Like there are there are no victims from what I teach. There are no victims. Like shit is just shit. And it's up to each person to understand why they're a part of that situation. But I digress. The point is, I was a child that knew what was going on. My dad was like, no, you don't. And my mom didn't know that I knew. And how am I supposed to tell her that I know without crushing my dad? Because some part of me was like, I still want my dad. Even though he's kind of being awful to my mom, like, I still need him. I still want him. And so that's where we begin. That's where, like, the story begins for me, I think, in terms of, like, my own emotional imbalance. Like that's when depression really set in for me, because I was stuck in this moment feeling like um, a sidekick to my dad's wrongdoing against my mom. And so that's whenever the anger first started, because it's like safety right off the bat has been, you know, taken away from me. So I've always struggled with a lot of anger, and depression and anger usually go hand in hand, because you're trapped in this futile place of being, and you won't leave it. You can't leave it. You're stuck in it. And I personally believe like the therapy and the medication doesn't help. It leaves you feeling okay being trapped in that, versus if you're depressed and anxious and angry and you take no medication and you start coping in other ways. It's another side note. I love addiction. I do. Not in the terms of what you think, like, oh, you're encouraging addiction. No. What I love about it is it will tell you very instantly, like whenever you are ready to like look at your life honestly, addiction is going to tell you exactly what the problem is. Pretty freight store. It's a freight store word. That's what we get for talking so early. Straightforward. It will tell you really straightforward what the problem is. And that's what I like about it, is that it's not hard to really understand what's going on. Like that's a very clear contrast of life and experience. If you have a hard and heavy addiction that you've been struggling with, like that's gonna tell. the answers are there. Now it's hard to work through it. It's hard. It's really hard. But you know what you're working through. The work is clear. And that's what I like about addiction is I have a lot of compassion for it. I have a lot of understanding in it. And there's a real gift waiting for each person that really starts to understand their addiction. Like there's a real gift about why you're here. Like it tells a lot about you, like what you can do with it. Like there's just so much in it, once you really start to befriend it versus hate yourself over it and run from it and try to avoid it, and because it just makes it worse. But the point is, I'm talking about rage today. Keep me on task here, guys. So I've always struggled with anger and rage, and I would start to and it would come down to this sense of fairness and justice, right? Which makes sense because the way that first ever got triggered for me was when my dad cheated on my mom and me not being able to make anything fair or just. And I didn't expect it, but what you guys don't know is it's making me emotional. Like I feel like I could cry talking about that, but I try and hold it together here. And so that would set me up for this lifelong sort of thing where like what would be a security for me would be justice and a sense of fairness and rightness that I would inevitably never really come to find, like probably until now. Like I have to really teach about it or talk about it, the retroactive fairness and justice, like what would have been just in those situations. So what's always going to set me off and make me angry is the lack of fairness and just. Which you can say, like, yeah, that's across the board for anybody. But for me, like, it really set me off. It would make me real angry. Like, I was real sensitive to, like, any sense, like, any minor injustice, I would turn into a major one. And so it would be about fairness and balance, like putting in what another person's putting in. And so fast forward to like I'm with a lady, and she is an addict like I am, but in the opposite nature. She likes the opiates, and we have a son together, and I would get so mad. I would get mad to a level that horrified me. I mean, I seeing red, I was seeing black. Like it's like I remember I got so mad and I screamed so loud to the point my own chest and heart like got strained, and I started crying profuse. Like I just started sobbing, and I held my chest because I realized like I did that to myself. Like I can't speak for her body. I can't speak for I know that what she's doing is upsetting me, but I just screamed so loud at her that I pulled a muscle in my heart. Like I hurt my own heart and how rageful and angry I just got. And that was really eye-opening for me at this point in time. I remember just holding my chest and crying and being like, but then feeling like I don't know how to fix this. Like, because my focus is outward. My focus was outward. I was like, well, she's doing this. And I'm trying to grasp at like, why have I attracted this in? Why have I attracted this in? And what's happening is it's like she's being real unfair. She's being a real selfish biatch, and understandably so for what she's been through. But from my own perspective of me, it's all about me. I'm saying, why are you not seeing that we have a son here? Why are you not seeing that I love you? Why are you not seeing that I have compassion for the pain you've been through, that I have compassion for your addiction? I'm not telling you to stop using your drugs. I'm just asking, can you do so in a way that we can grow and still not ruin this little boy? And that wasn't clicking for her, and she would lie a lot. She'd be like, it's like we'd be on the same page, but we weren't. And like that shit pissed me off, right? Understandably so. because it's like I'm reliving what I went through with my own father, and in some ways my own mom, because me and my mom fought a lot for a little period of time after her and my dad got divorced. Now she did end up going to counseling to like figure that out, because I would make her, I'd make her mad, like everything, but it's a whole shit show. That's what I'm saying, So how do I make this? It gets confusing. It's confused. The healing process is confusing. So I apologize. I'm trying my best to really explain this. That's why usually the best manner is just to go about it from sharing my personal experience of it. So yeah, stay on task here, Bodhi, and talking about anger and rage in the root chakra. Okay, so back to the lovely lady I was dating. I would get so mad, to the point that like I'd be cramping. Like, so those of you who don't know, I'm trans. I was born intersex, but I have a tiny uterus, not the size it's supposed to be for a female, and so I can cramp sometimes whenever I get too upset, when I get too angry, and so I would be like cramping, like so bad, like I'd make myself so mad, because your creative energy comes from your reproductive organs. So the more you're channeling and sharing and giving out negative energy, the more it hurts your creative forces, which can lead to infertility problems, for both genders, or just a harsh experience of your reproductive organs, however that may show up. So I'd be getting so mad, I'd be hurting. So it's like the anger is rising up. So my root chakra underneath the sacral is like going, hey, we are not safe here. How do I know? Because she would do something that would piss me off, and I could feel that anger. I could feel that redness, that unjust, that my safety is not here. Somebody doesn't have my safety at their in their mind, and then that rises up into your sacral chakra. So now I'm using that energy, and I'm expressing that anger, and I'm expressing that unsafety, trying to get safety. Okay, but what we don't realize as we're trying to grasp for that safety is only we can keep us safe. The time has come, gone, and passed, and done a loop around the world a few times since we could rely on another one for safety. We are adults now. Okay? Adults. Whenever we are finding ourselves stuck in these loops, feeling rageful about this, and we're trying to fight for something, if we spend a few months with someone and we are having the same problem and we're getting the same, like, let it go. If we're spending longer than that, that means we are trying to learn something and come back into power with ourselves. So, and that can take years. I know a couple that they just broke up and they've been together 8 years, I think, and they were fighting worse than me and my ex were. Why? Because the trauma is that intense, and that's a blinding force. The trauma is a blinding force. That is the illusion that we were traumatized, but it's also not an illusion. Bear with me here. So the anger comes up, and I'm trying to fight to get her to see that she's making me unsafe, and not only me, but our son, her son, and herself. And the thing is, like, it's not until you do it for you that those people, that person, that situation can even sort of be realized as unsafe for anybody else. And that's the hard part, is because when we're having a fear of letting go, it's coming back to something that's not even about that moment. It's coming back to something from the past, from when you're a child, or it can even go back to like past lifetimes, which is a whole topic for another time. I look at past lifetimes as like your grandparents, because that's also you, because of epigenetics. You can look into it on your own time, or I can talk about it at a later date. But right now, these things, we think it's about this moment. It's not about that moment most of the time. It is about a prior experience that we are trying to release in our body, saying, let go of this. You make yourself safe. So let's bring this back around. Thank you for bearing with me here. So when you're feeling rage, what's supposed to happen, you feel rage, you feel anger, and you're supposed to be able to pause, observe the situation, identify what's making you angry or mad, or kind of go through your life and think about the moments you ever felt rage and anger, and write down like the themes of those things, or just hold them in your mind, whatever you want to do. That is identifying what you need to feel safe, which means it's always important that you have that whatever there and present. And if it's ever not being honored, you're going to most likely feel mad and feel rageful. You're going to start yelling. There's going to be a lot of pain because you're going to be trying to get somebody to show up and meet that need of security in that way, but they're probably not. And if you're feeling rageful, then chances are they're not going to meet it for you, or you haven't tried talking about it, or if you have talked about it and they still don't meet it, then that means it's not for them to meet, it's for you to meet. Let me repeat that. It is not for them to meet that need, it's for you to meet that need. And that's where a lot of the pain comes in, is some part of us goes, why am I not worthy of having this need met? And that's going to come back to a parent not meeting that need for you and having to feel the pain of that. No way around it. You have to feel the pain of that. And once you feel the pain of that, then you can, the way I coped with that sort of thing is me realizing is I had to feel it. I had to go, what's really important to me is fairness, is honesty, is balance, is I'm not going to ask you to do something that takes away from you. I'm going to ask for something that provides to the unit, that uplifts all of us, right? And if you can't do that, then I feel angry because I'm pulling all the weight here. And that's how I felt oftentimes as a kid with my dad. And so when I can't get my partner to show up fairly, my safety is triggered and my security is triggered, and I get mad. Because if you go back to like evolutionary standpoints of this, like as like an animal, if an animal's safety is threatened, they're going to get rageful in the sense of they're going to fight you. Like they're going to attack you because it's about safety. And everyone has a will to live. So whenever that gets triggered and you start fighting, it's about self-preservation. But that means you've gone into a lower brain that can't truly understand the bigger perspective, and that you're human, you don't have to fight to live, you're already here. And so when you get mad, and a person or situation is making you angry, you have to take all of that weight and put it back on yourself, because only you can change that for yourself. Why do you keep putting yourself in that situation? For me, it was like, why did I stay in this for 3 years and keep fighting for it and getting angry, getting so angry, like, I mean, angry, like, to the point where I'd be like, I'll kill all of us. Like, that's how angry, like, I was not a good person with how much I was, like, you can talk to someone, you can say, hey, so like when we got together, I was like, hey, I want to do this. If your son, like when I met them, she had a son who was 3 months old and the father wasn't in the picture. And I said, if you need someone to be there from, like, I want to be that from, because I can't have kids. And so I saw that, like, I want to do this. And we were both sober at that point. And she was like, yeah, like, she agreed with me. Like, we talked about it. Like, we had an intense conversation. I was like, I want to do this. Like, I want to do this. I want to, like, be better than what I had. And I want to be here for him and for you. And she, like, we had, like, an adult conversation where it sounded like we were both on the same page. We were not on the same page, okay? We were not on the same page. And it took me 3 years to realize that, because I trusted her word. But Whenever I look at what she went through, she was people pleasing aspect where she's like, I'll say whatever it is that you want me to say so I feel safe and secure. And I'm going, and so she's saying, I'll say whatever I want to, whatever you need me to say for me to feel safe and secure. And I'm going, I will do my part and more for me to feel safe and secure. You see how we have conflicting interests there? Like, the one interest is we're both trying to serve ourselves, but whenever it involves two people, that's where we're having issues. I hope that makes sense, because that's a zinger right there. But anywho, you have to stop trying to get other people to take the responsibility that your parents couldn't take, have yet to take, and that you still want them to take. You're the adult now. Your parents are ingrained inside of you. However your parents were with you as a kid has become how you treat your own self. Whenever anger is involved, what's happening is God, source, the universe, you, your own self, is trying to get you to see what makes you feel safe by not letting you feel safe. Like, you put yourself in situations where you don't feel safe. How do you know? You're getting angry. You're getting anxious. And you're trying to make someone else change something. But at the same time, that's all you've been used to, is that same behavior you're getting from that person, that situation. So to remove yourself from it also feels unsafe because you've never had anything else. And then, so it's about pausing, going, my parent also, my home environment couldn't do the same thing for me. So I'm in a relationship that's doing the same thing to me over and over again, and I'm wondering why I'm so angry, and I'm wondering why I'm still in having this addiction. I'm wondering why I'm still struggling with this and that, and it's that. But you can't make someone else take responsibility for your childhood. You can't even make your parents take responsibility because they did the best they could. Like, they can't offer you what they don't know or have no means to. Just like in this moment, you're doing the same thing. Like, we're all doing the same thing that we're mad at somebody else about them doing to us. That's what I'm trying to say. Especially, like, you're trying to get someone else to do it because you also don't know how to do it yet either, but you're the one that is aware that it's important to you. I really hope this makes sense. Comments would be nice to help me see where I need to clear up, because this is a really important topic to me and to you, even if you don't realize it yet. Only rage and anger is 100% always telling you what do you need to feel safe, and it's telling you when you're not getting it. So what you should be doing to become more healthy, more mature, is when that happens, is you remove yourself from that situation. You keep you safe. Because you're the one getting triggered. The other person don't give a shit. They're doing it over and over again. You keep accepting it over and over again, getting mad because your safety is not there. But God's trying to go, hey, you don't feel safe in this, and they're not going to give that to you. Turn within. You see why you need that, why it's important to you. You learn and you seek to understand ways to give that to yourself, and then the corresponding person and situation will come in that can give that to you, not the other way around. I'm going to stop it there, I think. I do hope this makes sense, at least a little bit, or at least starts to bring some questions up. Anywhoville. Anger's for you, not the other person. That's for you. Not the other person, not the other place, not the other thing. It's for you. It's all for you to realize what you need, and for you to step into a better place. And it takes a lot of trust in God and the universe. This stuff isn't easy, but it's worth it.